Hi guys, I'm Beth, this is Read Remark, and today I'm going to be reviewing Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Thank you so much for joining. I'm positive that I'm going to be one of many people who are reviewing Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because this is a big time book that is getting a lot of buzz from a lot of people. I would highly recommend that you listen to the audiobook version of this. That's what I did, and it has an all-star cast including Judy Greer, Benjamin Bratt, Jennifer Beal. It's just so well performed. It's structured kind of like one of those behind the music specials that you would see on VH1. It takes a band and they're talking about the time that they were great. They talk about their pitfalls and pratfalls, why the band was so successful, all the different things that led up to now. Very interesting construct that she set up there, which I think that Taylor Jenkins Reid seems to like to play with, is these different formats for her books. For example, the short story that she wrote for Amazon was written in epistolary form, or the story The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was written more in the form of an interview. So the basic concept of this book is that there's this band, the Six, which is comprised of six really talented musicians. There's Daisy Jones, a rising singer and songwriter, and the producers mash the two together to see what kind of musical inspiration will come together. Of course, the musical inspiration is great. It's almost like the forming of a supergroup. This is done in real life, where you see these highly talented musicians who are put together to see what kind of beautiful music or fireworks occur because of them. Oftentimes there are fireworks, because when you put such talented people in the room, I mean, they can't all be kings and queens. It's probably very difficult to get past the ego and past their own idea of musical perfection. One of my favorite musical supergroups is Blind Faith. This was one put together at the late 1960s. It had Ginger Baker, Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Rick Gretsch, and they came together for one brief and shining moment to create one brief and shining album that features my favorite song of all time, Can't Find My Way Home. You'll see this with a lot of other supergroups. Maybe they're together only for a limited time, where it's almost like a supernova. It shines brightly and brilliantly and then flashes right away. It flashes out because it can't last forever. So through the course of this book, we see each of the different musicians recalling the time of their heyday when they were musical greats. Billy and Daisy were both brilliant songwriters, but both of them had very, very definite ideas of what they wanted out of life. Billy was also struggling to maintain his sobriety after falling into addiction so deep that it was almost a Herculean task to dig his way out of it. Meanwhile, Daisy is still down in that deep well of addiction herself. So when the two of them get together, it's fireworks. It's fireworks between their battling their different addictions and different life paths. It's fireworks between their songwriting styles. It's fireworks between who deserves top billing and the most credit for everything. That's probably very hard for both of them to share the spotlight. Camilla is Billy's long-suffering wife, the one whom he is utterly devoted to and the one whom he constantly manages to stray from in one way or the other. Still throughout the book, she doesn't let go. She holds on tightly to Billy, and I can't decide whether Camilla is a doormat or an incredibly strong woman. I keep wavering between the two. Part of me keeps wondering, why are you holding on to this guy who has such a hard time staying faithful to you, both emotionally, physically? I don't understand it. At the same time, she knows what she wants out of life and she fights hard for it. She does whatever she needs to do to make sure that that happens, and there's something admirable to that. It's kind of an interesting question to run over in my mind, and there's no doubt that they did have a deep and abiding love. I also was really struck by Daisy Jones's demeanor. So there's a lot of, she's kind of like a woman with spikes. There's a lot about her that kind of pushes people away. At the same time, she does everything on her own terms. She does not care what other people think, and that's evidenced by like the way she dresses, the way she acts. She has this attitude of, I don't care, you can take me or you cannot take me. I am what I am and who I am. I thought it was really interesting because it brings up a really good point that a woman can be a sexual person. She can choose whether to show her body or cover her body up. Both of those decisions are valid. If they're done on her own terms, it does not make her anti-feminist. And so I'm glad that that was pointed out in the personification of Daisy Jones. Now, Taylor Jenkins Reid, gosh darn her, I've noticed that a big theme in her books is love that is either lost or not fully realized. This love, this deep soul love that is right there, and people just can't grab it for some reason or another, whether it's society or responsibilities or whatever it is, you know, some other person. It's, boy, she just really likes to be the Edith Wharton of modern love that never gets to be fully realized. So thanks for that, Taylor Jenkins Reid. Appreciate it. I also had a really hard time seeing what people saw in Billy. So yes, he wrote these songs, but other than that, there just didn't seem to be that much to like about him. So when you think about the movie A Star is Born, the recent one with Bradley Cooper, you saw his character had all these demons, but there was something about him that was so charismatic that just drew people in and made Lady Gaga's character unable to quit him, because he just, it's like he saw things in her that nobody else could see, and he really encouraged her to be the best that she could be. I didn't really see that in Billy in this book. He didn't really bring the best out of people. He didn't really show the best from himself. I didn't understand why so many people were drawn to him. I didn't see it. Sure, he wrote good songs, but I just didn't see the draw beyond that. Another thing that would have been kind of a fun addition to this book would have been a really strongly abhorrent, horrible personality. When I think about my favorite supergroup, Blind Faith, they had Ginger Baker in it, arguably one of the best drummers of all time. But as a person, he leaves a lot to be desired. I would recommend that you watch the documentary Beware of Mr. Baker, and you can really get a good glimpse at the man behind the musician. And it would have been kind of fun to have a character in the book like that. Of course, it would have taken away from Daisy Jones. It would have made her antics and Billy's antics seem like child's play. Their ego flashes seem mild in comparison. So really, I'm talking myself out of it. Really, a character like that probably had no place in Daisy Jones and the Six, but it would have been kind of fun nonetheless to have this complicated Ginger Baker-esque character in there who is just incredibly talented, but manages to throw it all away, throw away the money, the fame, the chance at really building something because nobody wants to work with him. Maybe that's an idea for another book. All right, calling all authors out there. Do a fictionalized version of Ginger Baker's story. Or nonfiction, might be kind of interesting. So in a nutshell, my review of Daisy Jones and the Six is, of course I loved it. Of course I loved it. It's Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have found that I just enjoy the heck out of everything she writes, even if I'm not really happy with where the love stories go. Boy, is it an interesting time getting there. So thank you so much for watching. I will catch you next time. Bye. Highly recommend it. I don't really have anything else eloquent to say, so I will shut up now. Yeah.